Hello, welcome to another episode of Fat Dan's Thoughts, and happy Star Wars Day. So today, I wanted to do something special. If you've seen my previous Star Wars videos, you know I say one hashtag in every one of them. Hashtag Justice for Fives. And today, I want to go over why I say that, and why all of you should be saying hashtag Justice for Fives. So just as a warning, if you have not watched the Clone Wars series and Bad Batch, there will be major spoilers, so be warned. But who is Fives? Why is he so important? So Fives was a clone trooper, CT-5555, later promoted to ARC Trooper. He was nicknamed Fives. He started off on the Domino Squad in training. This was a squad that was failing, and then eventually they passed. After much perseverance, they passed. Even after a bounty hunter training them, cheated. So Fives, right there, through team effort, started from kind of a nothing clone trooper to eventually passing and being one of the best squads out there. So right there, that's a major accomplishment. And eventually they were on a mission that turned deadly, that only he and fellow Domino Squad member Echo survived. After that mission, they were both welcomed into the 501st. This was Anakin Skywalker's clone battalion, led by Captain Rex. And eventually Fives and Echo accomplished great things, but eventually they lose Fives on a mission. Or not Fives, they lose Echo on a mission. And later it turns out Echo's alive, but that's a story for another time. So eventually it's just Fives. The only one from the Domino Squad left. But doing very well in the 501st. There was a mission where Anakin Skywalker had to leave. And then they were led by this bad Jedi, Krell. This was a Jedi who had no regard for clone troopers. He hated them. He had all these reckless missions that got them killed, ignoring many ideas that the clones had that would be just as effective, but save lives. Fives was one of the only clone troopers brave enough to initially stand up to Krell, even leading a bit of a rebellion mission to destroy one of the enemy ships. It was against Krell's orders, but they did it because they knew they could save lives. And Fives, being a brave enough clone trooper, knew the risks. That he and Tup, both together, this will be important later on. And they were both, when they got back, they were willing to accept their fate. They were willing to accept being arrested. And eventually, Krell gets the 501st and the 212th, Obi-Wan's clone battalion, to kill each other. They both arrest Krell. Turns out he's working for Count Dooku, and he gets killed by another clone trooper. Just so you know how that story ends. But here's the main reason why I say justice for Fives. Why he and all of you should be saying this. You know Order 66, right? The order where all the clone troopers were ordered to execute their Jedi. If you just watch the Star Wars movies, nothing else, you might think the clones acted out of their own free will. They did not. It turns out they all had inhibitor chips in their brains forcing them to commit this order against the Jedi against their will. Very important. So, just if you ever think the clone troopers are bad, just remember that. Anyways, it started on a mission in Clone Wars. Again, so if you don't know, Clone Wars takes place between episodes 2 and 3. Anakin was leading a mission with some other Jedi, and Five's friends, Tup, his chip activated early and killed one of the Jedi. And Fives showed great concern for his friend. They all knew that something was wrong with Tup. So they took him back to Kamino, the clone's home world. And Fives was just a dedicated friend to Tup the whole time. Nala Se, the chief scientist on Kamino, was basically wanted to do a procedure that would for sure kill Tup. And Fives was against it. Obviously, Nala Se, secretly working for Count Dooku and Darth Sidious, had their own agenda, knowing Order 66. But Fives rebelled. Fives took a droid to investigate what's going on, and Tup dies. But then Fives discovers an inhibitor chip, something that should not be in the clones. Fives took it upon himself to stop this. So eventually, Fives was captured by Nala Se and the Jedi who's responsible for the clones, Shaak Ti, where Shaak Ti fought for Fives to let him tell his story to the Chancellor Palpatine. Of course, not knowing his true intentions, Chancellor Palpatine's, that is. And on the way there, Nala Se drugs Fives while no one is looking to make Fives, you know, that classic story, you drug the person so that when they try to say everything, no one believes him. And that's exactly what they did. Eventually, in the meeting with Chancellor Palpatine and Fives, it's a one-on-one. Well, Palpatine and his clone troopers. And there, Fives finds out everything. Order 66. He knows. He knows that the inhibitor chips are going to be used to turn against the Jedi. And the only thing Fives knows how to do after he escapes is warn who he trusts. He wants to warn Anakin Skywalker, his general, and his captain, Rex. So eventually he gets away, he talks to another clone trooper in the 501st to get a secret meeting with Anakin and Rex. And eventually Anakin and Rex meet up with Fives in a secret location. Rex traps them in a ratio so that they'll just stay and listen. And of course, they don't believe him. Rex, it seemed like he kind of did a little bit, but Anakin was completely against. Was like, I don't believe this. Now, keep in mind, Anakin had not fallen that far yet. So if Anakin believed Fives, he would have turned against Palpatine at that point in time. And then they don't believe him. And then eventually Palpatine's clone troopers catch up, and the leader, Fox, kills Fives. And then Palpatine comes up with some story about a virus that he and Tup came in contact with, and they get away with it. Now, obviously, if you watch this whole arc about Fives trying to expose them, you know nothing was going to happen if you watch episode 3. But it was still heartbreaking to watch. But there was a bit of... Fives' death was not completely in vain. The final arc of Clone Wars is essentially Ahsoka Tano, Anakin, at that point, Anakin's former apprentice, acting as a consultant with the 501st to capture Darth Maul, who, if you watch Clone Wars, reveals that he is in fact alive after Phantom Menace. Somehow. So they capture Darth Maul. And so again, this arc takes place during Revenge of the Sith. Completely during Revenge of the Sith. They capture Darth Maul. And then they're on their way to Coruscant. And then Rex gets the order. Order 66. But Rex had one advantage that the other clone troopers did not. He knew what Fives told him. So he was able to say in his last moments before the chip completely took him over, find him, Fives! Find him, Fives! And then Ahsoka gets away, and then she looks up a recording Rex made, a report. And basically, she sees Rex's report about what Fives reported with the inhibitor chip. So because of Fives' report, Ahsoka was able to capture Rex, free him of his inhibitor chip, and they were both able to escape. So Ahsoka Tano and Captain Rex, their lives were saved because of Fives' warning. Eventually, Rex met up with the Bad Batch, a defective group of clone troopers who were initially immune to the inhibitor chips. And because of Rex's warning, they were getting their chips removed. And there's a nice little moment where Rex and Echo, who is back alive with the Bad Batch, Rex tells Echo about how he should have listened to Fives. Such a sad scene. Such a sad scene. But anyways, they're about to remove the inhibitor chips when it takes control of another one of the Bad Batch, Wrecker. Eventually, they're able to capture Wrecker and remove the inhibitor chip and the rest of the Bad Batches. So, because of Fives' warning, essentially, Ahsoka Tano, Rex, and the 4 members of the Bad Batch at the time, Hunter, Echo, Tech, and Wrecker, their lives were saved. All because of Fives' warning. And if you watch, a little bit of spoilers for Rebels, for Star Wars Rebels, which takes place a little bit before A New Hope, Ahsoka and Rex were alive and able to assist the Rebels in that series in the rebellion. Eventually, they were able to stop a very key figure in the Empire, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Ahsoka and Rex were able to help the rebellion that stopped an important member of the Empire, all because of Fives. Indirectly, it all leads back to Fives' warning about the inhibitor chips. Fives was a very important clone trooper, one of the most important, who was killed unjustly. No one believed him, but his death was not in vain, and he saved so many people as a result. That is why I will always say in my Star Wars videos, justice for Fives. Because if anyone deserves justice, it's Fives. So if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss another episode. And let me know what you think. Do you agree with what I said? Do you think Fives deserves justice? Comment in the comment section. Let me know. And lastly, have a bat-tastic day. Or have a bat-tastic Star Wars day.